Good morning, Facebook, Instagram family. Glad you can join me this morning for an episode of Back to the World, my brother and my sister's keeper. I'm Tony, and right now, work with me. We're having some difficulties here with our Facebook login here. So I'm thinking that boxed out. Let's see. Okay, we hit go live. Says create live video here. I do this just about every day, but I think I got in a little hot seat here with a few things, so bear with me. I may not be able to publish any live videos on Facebook for at least 6 more days, but I'm not necessarily sure what the violation is, ladies and gentlemen, but hey, thank you guys for joining me this morning, and we're going to keep it pushing. You know, I have other pages that I don't even know how to get to them, to be perfectly honest with you, but that's okay in and of itself. Let's see, how do we switch over here? See, manage the profile. Any rate, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for coming on. We're going to move forward, and we're not going to worry so much about changing over. I think I found how to do that. So we're switching over. But the music that you're listening to in the background, we don't own the rights to. Any comments, questions, anything that you have to share, man, say switch now. Any comments, questions that you may have, hit us in the boxes down below. And I'll kindly get back with you, man. Trying to get back to see profile. Okay. Wow, we made it. Let's see if they're gonna let me in here. Don't know if they are, but bear with me. We got Instagram though, so there's no problem there. But look, if you want to interact with me live, oh yeah, I'm boxed out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm boxed out for 6 days. Maybe hold on. Okay. Pay dirt. Pay dirt. We're live. We're live all the way around the board, man. Thank you guys. But at any rate, hey, I'm like the kid at the candy store this morning, man. But look, if you wanna interact with me live, man, call me at area code 832-901. That's 4758. Let me make sure that. Let me make sure. Okay, yes, that's 832-901-4758. And we'll have you on live. But if your comments and questions are a bit long and extensive, email me at backtotheworld@gmail.com. But I just wanted to come on this morning with you guys briefly and, man, just tell you, man, how good the Most High is. Sometimes, you know, we get the things that we need even when we don't ask for them. And sometimes we get the things that we need when we don't even know that's what we need. My life has always been that way. And, you know, I remember lots of times, man, in school when I was a kid, especially when I moved away from New Orleans, whenever something would happen in my favor, man, guys would say, man, that's that voodoo luck, man. You from down there in the swamps, man, where all them Geechees are and the whole bit. And you know what? You know, for a while I believed that. And it could still be true. But then as you get older, and again, as you read, you learn more. And knowledge, man, knowledge is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, man. It's like God and the devil. But it all depends on how you use it. See, when you're a kid, I mean, you're just pure. You don't necessarily have enough. You don't have any knowledge, per se. You're just pure of the world, of the universe. And almost everything that you do it from a position of honesty. That's why animals are that way for the most part. Because they have their certain characteristics, and that's just their nature, and that's their breed. Well, see, we've been done this, put it this way. The same thing was done for us as well. But at some point or another, we grow out of it. And on Easter, I made a post, man, when I say that God sits at the table with the devil, and he makes a deal, and they bet on Job. So they bet on Job, and they bet that Job is going to forsake the Most High. The Most High is betting that he won't. But my whole thing is, why would you sit at the table and place a bet and bid against your enemy with someone that you made in the likeness of you? So that part I just know was probably written by man and written in there, man, and I just don't understand it. But, you know, I just go with the flow. But my point is this. But when you put everything in its perspective and you try to discern it the way it was written, and you realize that all of God's creatures were created to be just and honest and forthright. And after they start learning the ways of the world, of the wicked world, I don't want to sound like an evangelist, but I see that I'm starting to do that, so let me kind of back up a bit, because that's not my aim. But what I'm saying is, you know, when a kid can't express himself vocally or verbal, then he cries, he reacts, he moves a certain way. And that's one of the truest signs in the world. When somebody's giving you body language in the whole, but it doesn't, you know, I don't care if your stomach hurts and you're upset in Chinese, you're going to react the same way you would in English, Arabic, or Spanish, or whatever the situation may be. So that's the honesty in it. But, you know, the more you know, the more you're responsible for. So that's why when you know very little, you feel good. Everything is hunky-dory. Everything is just fun-free in the sun. But once you start realizing that, you know, hey, there's racism in the world. There are bills that needs to be paid. That automobile needs to be paid for. There's a note there in the whole bit. It's not free anymore. And you know, when we were locked up inside that institution, prison, it's almost, you somewhat get back to that feeling. And it's a negative place to be. But after a while, everything that's raw and pure and from the land, it comes back to you. And then you start to respond that way. You start to feel that way. And it's a form of honesty, really. But then when you get released and you come back into society, that's the truth. You understand? That's the way things are out here right now in this living earth. And now, you know, you have to, and that becomes the double-edged sword. Now there's a bill that needs to be paid and you can't pay for it. You can't afford it. There are things that you have to focus on outside of just naturally living every day. And that's, see, because, you know, you have to eat, you have to survive, and you have to be nurtured every day. But there are going to be days that are easier than others where you can do it and where you can't. So knowledge is something that we seek. And we seek it through books. We seek it through reading and what have you. We seek it through reading. But you know what? Knowledge is nothing but a bunch of gibberish if you don't have any understanding. Okay? Now that's where the understanding comes in. The understanding comes into whereas you can decipher it and you can place it in its proper perspective. And now when you gather all of this and you understand this, and you live your life this way from a certain focal point, that becomes wisdom. And then when it becomes wisdom, now you can package it on and you can pass it on to the next generations or what have you. But anyway, that's where I wanted to go with that. But, man, we just want to tell you about Sonequity again every day. Go out, purchase your books via Sonequity. Let Sonequity be the key. Let it be the transition for you on your journey. Okay? Because without books, I don't know where I would have been inside those four walls. But those books carried me. And one day I'm going to read a poem to you guys that I had written about escaping every day. Not in the sense that you think climbing a wall or anything like that. I'm talking about just my imagination and where and how far your imagination can take you. Places where you've never gone, places where others have never gone. And that's the miracle of thought, that's the miracle of knowledge, and that's the miracle of books. Okay? So Sonequity wants to be that. He wants to be the key. He wants to be the key to the ignition that will help you experience all these different journeys and through different galaxies, time zones, and places of that nature, time travel. You know? And I look at social media today, and a lot has changed since I've been on social media. And you know, I look to a lot of people that's on social media because they were championing the same cause that I wanted to champion, right? Well, a lot has changed in just a few months since the pandemic, man. You see, a lot of money's been made. A lot of money's been made very fast on social media. I haven't made anybody like that. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I guess, and see, we call it selling out, but I'm just going to, you know, in defense of others, I'm not going to say selling out per se, because I don't want to accuse these people of that because I don't know them. But there were people that were championing causes that I signed on to, and causes that I embraced myself. And at this time, these people had a lot of followings. They had a lot of people on their site, and I guess they were earning money, man. They were saying some things that I wrapped my head around. I've never really discussed these things with anyone, but these were thoughts that I've had, and I said, they're damn sure on something, because, you know, you just can't wake up one day and boom, there it is. You have to have at least gone through these things, or you sat back and you've had time to think about them chronologically. And you know what? I said, yeah, they got a movement going on, and you know what? I like to be a part of that. Well, now I can't see many of these people on doing the same things that's fighting and championing these different causes. You got some, man, they've gone on, and content, understand, see, the two words now that really, you know, in our lexicon, and it sort of irritates me, and that's the word content and the word influence. Those two words, man, they grate at my mind, you know, because now everybody, and digital creators, you know, this shit just bothers the hell out of me when I hear it, man. You got people walking around and they've anointed themselves, you know, I am a content creator, I am an influencer. Well, anybody that bullshit anybody is an influencer. You know, anybody that goes out and tells somebody something and you sway them in this bullshit, you are an influencer. But we've taken this now, and we take the anointment, and we think that we have really, many of us are prone to titles. We love titles. So if we can have a title hanging over our name, it makes us feel important. It makes us feel viable and what have you. Well, many of these people, man, were really championing our cause. They were talking about things like education, welfare, injustice, politics. They were talking about the history and things that we need to do to get back on the right track so that we as a people and as a culture can flourish. Okay? Well, now I go to these people's sites, man. It'll pop up on my timeline. And these people are talking about just a woman that left her kid in the house. Two people fighting at a red light. And one guy pulls out a gun and starts shooting the other guy. The guy comes back and roll over the guy, man. He just steamrolls the guy. Okay, and I'm wondering what that has to do with what your message is. Okay? And then another one is talking about people going out getting BBLs. Men, talking about men going out getting BBLs and what have you. And another one is gossiping and talking about other guys that are getting money and they're committing fraud and they're doing all sorts of fraudulent things, the whole bit. So now you become a whistleblower. And keep in mind, right, we shouldn't have to talk about, don't get me wrong, and maybe it's because of me, and maybe it's because of where I've been. And I've been gone, I've been locked up for so long, for 25 years. It's like, unless another man is actually punishing or trying to hurt someone that I love, the whole nine, then I'm not going to get involved in what he's doing and blow the whistle on him. And he's doing something, let's say he's doing something nefarious and he's scamming on people the whole bit. Well, my platform is not to be the whistleblower for commerce and merchandise the whole bit. That's not what I built my platform on. I don't want to tear down. If there are guys that out there that's doing PPP loans and they're scamming and they're getting over, and you know they're on video holding money up to their ears the whole bit. Don't get me wrong. There's only one thing that I wish in that particular scenario is that I had a stack like that to put to my ear. I'm not going to hate on him for how he's getting it. And I'm damn sure not going to report or try or comment on it and try to lead the authorities to go and knock his head in. You understand? I feel bad about that. I'm not built that way. But you got guys that are building that have built their platforms and they're earning shitloads of money on doing that. All right? When I first come home, I had an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to go on a speaking tour. I've never spoken before. I've been one that shunned away from the crowd, shunned away from the attention, right? I've never taken any Toastmaster courses or what have you. I've never done it. I never liked speaking to a group of people that was outside of my circle. Now, if we had things that we were working on and I needed to convey the message to you, then I'm going to do that. But to sit back and hold a forum and talk before a group of people, and I'm telling you right now, I'm talking to you guys, and I don't know how many. I could be talking to one, or I could be talking to 1 million. I don't see you. And I feel comfortable with that. I don't know how. I've spoken at funerals and things like that, man, and I was nervous to heck, and I can't even remember what was said. All right? But I did it. But my point is, I had an opportunity to go on a speaking tour when I first came home to talk to the youth. And a lot of my buddies, man, a lot of my comrades, that's what they're doing. That's their mission. Well, see, I have the same mission. But see, their mission is to get out there and get in the trenches, man, and to roll up their sleeves and go out amongst the youth and the whole nine. I don't feel that I would have value there because I've never done that, and I've never surrounded myself with a group of people. I've never been involved with gang activity. So all I could do is impress upon the young guys and everyone, get your money. That's been my strength. So I'm going to tell you as a group how to monetize and how to leverage your relationship with all the other guys that's out in the streets. And let me turn you guys on to things to tell you how to earn a living and how to make a profit legitimately. So now what I'm saying is I turned that down. And the reason I turned it down is this. I think that there are two things that I have to tell the youth. Number one, I have to tell them, get away from the crime, stop killing one another and destroying the community, right? That's number one, stop the violence. Number two, stop saturating the community with illegal drugs and what have you, because that leads to the violence the whole bit, right? Those are the two primary things. Now, spraying graffiti on the wall, playing your music loud, the whole bit, let somebody else tell them about that, right? But those are the two primary things when it comes to talking to gangs, that these are the messages that one can convey, right? Well, see, here's the thing. When the minister asked me to go out and to come and talk to the youth the whole bit, I declined. I respectfully declined. Because why? First of all, at some point, when eventually I would start off with t-shirt, blue jeans, some tennis shoes, the whole bit. But as time goes on, man, I'm gonna come with a pair of slacks and a dress shirt or what have you. And then sooner or later, I'm gonna come with a suit and some shoes on and looking like a minister myself, and as I give my presentation to the youth. But now imagine this, because see, I've experienced this inside. I'm talking to the youth. I understand, and I tell them about the violence and everything. And I tell them how they need to tone it, how they need to cut it out, not tone it down, right? Then number two, I start telling them about the drugs. If you continue and you stay in the streets, you're going to end up like me, right? And, you may not be so lucky and so blessed to get a second chance. So you might want to stop that before you get caught up, because there's only two ways, there's only two endings that you're going to get out of that. And one is prison and the other one is death. Okay, so I tell them that. So now, excuse me, little Rico, sitting on the third row, he raises his hand and he says, "Excuse me, because that's what they call me because of the white in my beard, my hair, my head." And they said, "Okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm all about stopping the violence. I'm all about that. But I'm 23 years old and I can't find a job anyplace. And the jobs that I find, I can't supplement my family. I can't take care of my family. My mother's on dialysis. I have a little brother that's going into high school, and he's like a star football player. And I can't feed him without the hustle, right? My sister is going to college, all right? She's going to nursing school. I am the sole provider for that family. I want to quit selling drugs. Every day I get out in these streets and I have to deal with this, it frightens me because I don't know if I'm going to make it home. And if I don't make it home, I don't know what my family's going to do. So now, all I see is my little brother coming after me. And then he's going to follow in my footsteps because now he's the man of the house. So here's what I'm saying. I want to walk away from the streets. But if I put that down as an alternative, what do you have to give me so I can maintain? So now, this is where the bullshit comes in. I don't have nothing to give him that will supplement or support or substitute his hustle in the streets at that point in time. So I would have been a hypocrite. And here I am standing on this stage with a $3,000 suit on, $5,000 shoes. And I might be making money from touring and telling them this. But what I'm going to tell him, just, leave the streets, go and apply for a job. Though he's done that. There aren't any jobs out there that's paying him maybe $5,000 a week that he's probably making on the streets, because he's probably, if he was a kingpin, he wouldn't have been in that meeting. If he was a kingpin, he would not have been there. All right? So he was there and he's real young. So he wants to know, what can he do to get out of the streets? Well, I don't have nothing to tell him to come out of the streets too. So I refused because I would have felt hypocritical. So now going all the way back to what started this, as I said, I see a lot of guys that were expressing this in the beginning. But as time winged on, I see now that they're almost doing anything. Because see, once you've made that money, and then all of a sudden the spigot is turned off, it's hard, man. It's hard. And then now it becomes what you're made of. Are you going to forsake your values? Are you going to sell out? And that's what people call it. They call it selling out. You know, I understand the mechanics of it, but I couldn't do it. So I refused to go on those speaking tours. And I haven't made money doing this. There are some days, man, I might have 3 people. I got 2 at the moment. And then there are other days I don't have any. But I can remember back in the day when we first started this, my partner and I, man, we'd have 1,500 people during the pandemic. And the reason for that is because everybody was at home. Everybody would wake up, get up, they're bored, they don't want to go outside. It was like The Walking Dead. They didn't want to be outside. They were afraid. People were perishing. So what happened, everybody would stay in, they'd watch the regular TV, so now they get on here and they see what the buffoons are doing. Let's see what the clowns and what the fools are doing, or let's see what I can learn. Well, after a while, life started lifing, and everybody jumped back out in the world, so nobody had time to check in verses the whole bit. But I appreciate the fact that people come to and they watch it on a replay. And they may catch something may catch their ear in the whole bit, and I'll get a DM or whatever. But that's cool. But what I'm saying is, it's like, I want a lot of these brothers and sisters, because you know what? You done the credit thing, man. We done that far and wide. You can only go so far. You know, you've gone beyond. Now, what are you teaching? What's the transition now? What are you going to give the people after that? That becomes the big sale. You know, it's like, see, when you got the momentum and everybody, it's like this, right? If everybody's hungry and if everybody's starving, okay, so you feed them. I mean, that's a simple process. So what are you going to do now after you feed the people? Because see, now that they're full in the whole 9 yards, they aren't as hungry anymore. So you can't keep shoving food at them. So that's the same thing with your content. A lot of your content now has turned to bullshit. Man, don't you know that there are over 2,000 books that are on the banned books list? You know? And right now, you guys that call yourselves influencers, man, it's like now I'm talking to you. I want to give you something to do. I want to give you something to continue making that, to continue pushing out knowledge, which is now called content, to the youth, to the disenfranchised, to the unjust, to the impoverished. I want to continue doing that. And the only way we can do it is through books. Books are the only thing, writing's the only thing that has sustained us as a people since we've been kidnapped and placed in captivity. And we're still somewhat in it. We got one leg in it and one leg out. Okay? But yet you want to show me stuff where people are. Man, I'm telling you where a guy. I went to this one guy's page. I went to this one guy's timeline, man, and he's showing the storm in Dubai. That's all over social media. And I'm saying when you are spent, that's like the example that I gave. Everyone is full. No one needs any food now, but you're still trying to shove food before them. Okay? So now that's what's happening now. You're copying a lot of the content that's all over the rest of social media, because why? You need to keep those algorithms up. You need to keep those numbers up. So now, when we talk about the Puffy situation, when we talk about Hollywood, we talk about being woke and the whole bit. Man, that's the same thing that you people are doing. That's the same thing. And the crazy thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I wrote a book many years ago that's talking about the same things that we're talking about now when it comes to Hollywood and gatekeepers and the whole bit. See, I lived in Hollywood for a few years. So I seen, heard, and been around a lot of that bullshit that people are talking about that you see on social media, the whole bit. I've seen a lot of this, right? And when I told people about it, everybody didn't believe me. They thought it was bullshit. And see the young lady, Jaguar Wright, more so than anyone. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been many others that have said certain things here, certain things there, a thing or two there, that I passed on and told to a lot of guys that I'd been around. And especially in prison, we would have a forum and we'll sit back and we'd talk, and I'll tell them about certain things. It was like, is that right? Come on, OG, you lying, man. That'll never happen. So, I didn't press the issue. I left it there. So now it's all coming out. And more so from the young lady, Jaguar Wright, than anybody. I can attest to you that there's a lot that she's saying is absolutely correct. Because I have been in those circles, to whereas there were crazy deviant stuff that I had witnessed, never participated, but things that I had witnessed, heard about, or either it was alluded to, and I had seen certain things that definitely confirmed a lot of that. Excuse me a sec. I was just witnessing something here that appears to be weird. I see a car driving with the door open, and I don't know what that's about. But Jaguar Wright, she hits on a lot that has actually transpired, and I tell you, it's sad to say, but that's just what it is. But what happens is, I had a discussion with some guys at the cigar lounge, and they were talking about why these people do some of the things that they do, the whole bit. And man, I've never been an actor, but I've been around a bunch of them. I've been around the Hollywood set, the whole bit. And many of these people, man, they dedicate their entire lives to performing in the whole nine. So they want their name in any casting situation, because there's so many, there's millions, people come from all over the world to be a part of Hollywood. And when you get to a situation where you've been recognized and looked at the whole 9 yards, you're willing to do any of the biddings that these people are asking you to do. Not everyone does that, but you got to keep in mind, in a 100 percentile, right? You got at least 70 to 75 people, 75% that's going to capitulate. All right? Because they may not know where their next meal is coming from, the whole bit. And then, everybody that's there in that position is not starving. And they figure whatever it is that they do is going to be done behind closed doors and nobody's going to know about it. Well, now here it is, 2024, and there's things that's coming out today that happened all the way back in 92, 93, and 94. Okay? So, that's why, and as I said again, I may have missed placing food on my family's table because, I know this. A good dollar is going to find me before I find a good dollar. Money will find me before I find it. So I'm not just going to jump out there at any and everything just because I could do it. See, I have my reputation and I have my morals and my principles in which I must live by, right? And that's just how I function, But again, as I said, social media has made many people rich. But a lot of them didn't have any financial acumen at all. So what's going to happen? They're going to go out and they're going to spend their money immediately. And then we'll be reading about them, and we'll be doing a deal on Celebrity Source and what have you, and we'll be talking about those people. But I understand it, and I can somewhat empathize. I'm not going to pass judgment on them. But I think that what we have with our platform here at Sonequity, for all of you whose careers are somewhat waning, before you lose all of your funding, the whole bit, man, come on board and help us push this message to the people. Let this be the source. Let this be the information, the content, the influence that we give to the people. All right? Sonequity Bookstore. So now what you guys do, go out, purchase your books. Go to www.bookshop.org/shop/Sonequity. That's Matter of fact, let me put it on here so you guys can see it. And go out and purchase your book, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm going to put it here, www. Have we got it? Yeah, www.bookshop.org/SONETQUITY. There we go. You guys go to our store, purchase your book of the month. Okay? And for our wealth building side, go to our website at www.sonetquity.com. Man, come one, come all, ladies and gentlemen. We can all do a good deed, earn a living, and take care of our people at the same time. So, thank you guys for joining me this morning. And man, it's supposed to be a pretty rough weekend. It's supposed to be a lot of rain here. Grab you a good book, cuddle up with it, get you a nice cool lemonade or hot chocolate or hot tea or a strong drink with a little muscle, and enjoy your weekend. I'm going to have me a smoke, and I'll be back to visit you guys soon with that. Enjoy your day. Thank you for coming on board, and peace. God bless. Got to make sure I cut this off here, man, but I've seen times where the film was off. Okay. Pay dirt. There we go. Pay dirt. We're live all the way around the board, man. Thank you guys. But at any rate, I'm like the kid in the candy store this morning. That look, if you wanna interact with me live, man, call me at area code 832-901. That's 4758. Make sure. Okay, yes, that's 832-901-4758, and we'll have you on live. But if your comments and questions are a bit long and extensive, email me at back2world@gmail.com. But I just wanted to come on this morning with you guys briefly and just tell you, man, how good the Most High is. Sometimes we get the things that we need even when we don't ask for them.